welcome back. I'm Jeff Kleinman, the editor-in-chief of BevNet, and we're here in the live stream lounge at Project NOSH Brooklyn with Pete Speranza of 301 Inc., the venture capital incubator associated with General Mills.
Yep.
And Pete, you guys have been super busy for about a year and a half now, really pounding the pavement. So tell us a little bit about how you guys are structured and how you like to meet brands.
Yeah, I'll tell you a few things about 301 Inc. and how it's structured. You talk about a year and a half ago since we kind of started this journey, but probably took a good 9 months to almost a year to actually work internal to General Mills, actually figure out how do we, one, create this fund, but also how do you create the nimbleness that we need to be in market so we can move fast as we see opportunities, as entrepreneurs or as brands that we have passion or interest in, as they're raising, that we're ready and we can jump in and be a partner right away. So you probably noticed we announced officially, I think, in October, and we've already invested in 4 or 5 brands since then. Some of it is pent up
pipeline
of brands that we were working on, but also it was making this official start, but also have the structure in place to be nimble and quick and be able to support the brands like they need to be. So
now, inside a big company like General Mills, how is that nimbleness characterized?
Yeah, it's been interesting because we basically built a very cross-functional board basically that works over top of our team that is very in tune with innovation for the company and as a whole. They also have folks like John Foraker that just came from Annie's that has a great perspective from the outside looking in a little bit, even though he's part of General Mills now, which has allowed us basically the freedom to really go after brands and go after spaces without getting, I'll call the large presidents that work in these large divisions. We really don't have to get the buy-in from the presidents as much as our board to move quick and nimble and actually secure some of these investments.
So have any brands been integrated on the sales and marketing side, or is most of the kind of internal exposure on the operational and supply chain side?
Yeah, that's the interesting piece. Not like Epic where we purchased them outright and now they're part of our supply chain.
Just scooped them right up there.
Yeah, and they were integrated into our supply chain R&D, even though their sales and their leadership team stayed intact, and they report into John Foraker. With our minority investments, we basically let the companies run freely with the team that they have, creating their strategy and also execution plans. And then what we would look for is white space or actually gaps in their kind of resource plan or gaps in their experience, and actually plug those holes basically with experience throughout the company to one, help them grow on the top line or actually reduce the bottom line so they have cash to reinvest in their business. That's the way we think about it.
Now, you guys have started doing a fair amount of co-investment. You've closed 2 deals with Cavu on board.
Yeah. Yep.
So how is that working as a structural plan?
Yeah, and that wasn't planned out with Cavu, actually, by any means. But as we got into it, we actually, from the beginning, we said we don't want to be just the sole provider of cash, especially in these early rounds. We'd rather have partners. And as Cavu came on board with good culture to start, there are complementary skills that they have. They're kind of business operators with some good history of building small brands and actually selling them off and understanding kind of the puts and takes through that process. And then we've come in with our kind of 150 years of expertise across a wide range of categories and the relationships that we've obviously have as General Mills. So it's like this complementary skills, and also, as long as we feel like that's...
They may be more in tune with what you guys have to offer even than the entrepreneurs themselves.
They totally are. So
they're really working General Mills, in other words.
No, they'll totally suggest to the entrepreneurs that we work with, hey, you should consult with General Mills on that one or this. So to your point, they're a little bit of a confidant because they're kind of, hey, I've done this before. And then we're a little bit more like, well, let's talk to the experts to really get a good understanding if it's a supply chain issue or even a sales question or even a consumer insight type of question. Yep.
It's interesting. I remember when Clayton Christopher and David Smith had sold Sweet Leaf to Nestle.
Right.
and they were there for a period afterwards. And David Smith, who'd run sales, and these, Clayton's a partner in Cavoo, and David is backed by Cavoo, and
Right.
they've worked together on many projects. David was all of a sudden had all the resources and data of
Yeah,
Nestle
that is a big
Waters
piece. Yeah.
behind him, and he was just amazed. He couldn't stop smiling for a little while.
Yeah. That's what we see from our brands. Scott Jensen, that was just talking earlier today. I mean, when he's seen the suite of support that we can bring to his team, from everything from the sales side all the way to ingredient and sourcing and, obviously manufacturing, everything in between, he couldn't stop smiling. The 2 days he spent with us up in Minneapolis when he actually realized what he just tapped himself into. So, I understand that.
But by the same token, is it really, just the key to success to play with Cavoo, or what do these brands still need to prove out to really succeed?
Yeah, and some of it is two things. One, building up the right sales strategy. So what's the channel? What is the product portfolio going to look like over time? Kale is a great example, once again, with Rhythm. I mean, it was their established base business, right? Now they're jumping into a lot of different fruits and veggies, and with the strategy of being the fruit and veggie, leader in, whole foods, less processed, more mainstream kind of flavors. So,
Yeah. So they still have to carry out their proposition, even if they're armed by whatever kind of insights you can provide.
Yeah, I mean, we're still an investor that held Scott accountable for, what he thinks his 3 to 5 year projections are. We'll also obviously be there along the way to tweak those projections as we see new opportunities or see new ideas. But we'll still be holding them accountable to, sales projections and bottom line and margin enhancement, which is what he offered.
So tell us a little bit. You were with General Mills for a long time on the operations side.
Yeah, I've been with General Mills almost 20 years, yeah. Operations and engineering is where my majority of my expertise is.
So what attracted you to this sort of venture idea?
Yeah, I've always had a passion on the venturing side and entrepreneurism. I actually helped lead a innovation competition in the state of Minnesota, just looking for the best food brands there as well, outside of what I do within General Mills. But as I was looking at next opportunity for myself within operations, 301 Inc. Started 4 years ago, and they knew of my passion, so they asked, hey, would you want to join this innovative new team that we have within General Mills? So I'm actually one of the founders, I'll call it, of 301 Inc. at this point, between me and just 3 other players, I think, that are left on the team. But yeah, it's just my personal passion as well as my expertise. I felt led to a great benefit that 301 Inc. can bring to these entrepreneurs. So.
Final question.
Yeah.
What's hipper, Minneapolis or Brooklyn?
Ooh, that's tough. Yeah.
'Cause Minneapolis, I know, has a strong hipster vibe.
Oh,
so.
it does. It definitely does. Yeah, I would say Brooklyn, probably has the history, but Minneapolis is right up there.
Who wins the ironic softball game?
Minneapolis, probably.
That's awesome. Well, listen, thank you very much for joining us. It's great to have you here.
Awesome. Thanks,
And
Jeff.
thanks for your support of NOSH. It's
Oh, no
been
problem.
wonderful to have you guys aboard.